Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Life Choices podcast.
Yeah!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Life Choices podcast, where we discuss mindset, success, the good and the tough aspects of going after your passions. On today's episode, I am welcoming a very good friend of mine, Charlene Rothe.
Rothe.
See, I already fucked it up after we just talked about it.
Okay.
So
right.
let's get into it.
That wasn't even on purpose.
Right. So
I'm already laughing.
let's do the quick lesson about the last name, which is your married name.
Right. Married name,
Yeah.
Rothe. Everyone likes to say Roth, but sometimes I just say, all right, it's Roth, whatever. David Lee Roth, that's cool.
Right. Okay.
I almost wish it was Roth, but it's Rothe. The E is silent. I've gotten used to Dennis saying that. Dennis with one N.
And we're doing Dennis with one N. Shout out to Dennis.
Shout out to
There
Dennis.
you go.
Hi, my hubby.
There you go.
So, and just to let you know, Bradley was disappointed you weren't here.
I was absolutely expecting you to be here because I can't really recall the last time I saw you without you.
We're never not together,
which
so
is amazing.
this is-
we're gonna get into that
I'm an
later.
adult. Okay, sorry.
Because the reason why is because we just had an excellent podcast last time. I'll say last time if we put it up before yours. I never know, so it could be the past, the future, or the present while it's happening. But Lauren Cotton, that was on the show, we got into like what is important about finding the proper partner she calls teammate.
Yes.
So we'll get into that because the two of you, that whole story is a thing.
Okay.
So we'll get into that afterwards. We're here to talk about mindset and success and ups and downs, goods and bads, and all that sort of stuff. So I know you're a successful hairdresser.
Yes.
Because I've had my hair did by you
I was your hairdresser.
multiple times.
I was your hairdresser.
And no, I mean, you are, because I
Yes.
have not had my hair cut
Right.
since the last time I saw you.
Right.
So like, well, the top part.
I'm your hairdresser.
Yeah, you did the top part, and then I
Yes.
have someone that does like the sides, the fade,
Yeah.
and then I have someone else that does the beard, because
Right.
I don't know, I just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when finances are super low when you're creating a business, I then end up doing it all by myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you can get away with it because you're so handsome.
Well, okay, sure, thank you, but it's like, $30 here, $40 here, whatever we did, like it,
Right.
just for okay, I can just in my bathroom and I'm good.
Can I actually remind you that, remember when we did the straightening?
Absolutely, I show that picture to everybody.
But then after you did your world traveling and you wrote your book, you decided, I'm just going with it. And I
Yeah.
love that you decided just to go natural.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say rare, but that I actually wear my hair down.
Right.
But if I do, the curls come out.
Yeah.
And they're like ringlets.
Yeah.
I think my hair is like close to the middle of my back.
Oh,
But
wow.
it sits at my shoulders because of the curls.
It's been a while since I've seen it down.
Yeah. What will be funny is if Tice actually, if I send him we got your phone.
Oh, see.
Is that doing something to the camera?
I'm
the
going to put it
flash?
behind me. Someone's calling me.
Okay.
I'm going to put it behind me.
There we go.
And it's vibrating, so.
So that'll be interesting how he edits all that out. Because we had mentioned the straightening, and I'm not embarrassed or afraid of who I am or what I look like, I'm going to send Tice the photo, and we're going to see if, as we talk about that, it could be floating, and see what the comments might be about that one, because it does look kind of funny.
Right. You were just.
Very Jesus looking.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is not a bad person to be compared to.
Exactly.
I mean, like, the dude died and came back.
I know, right?
I mean, all right.
He
sign me
walked on
up.
water.
Right? I mean, I could possibly do that shit.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I think you could.
Right.
Right.
So getting back, the fact that you were my hairdresser, are my hairdresser, very successful at it. You've been doing it for
23 years.
23 years.
October will be 24 years.
Wow.
It's so crazy to say that, actually.
Yeah. Especially since you're only like 25, right?
Yes.
So
and
it's crazy
actually,
how
I
that
wouldn't
math
even want
works.
to be 25.
Hell no.
So, I mean, I actually want to be the age I'm at. I'm not even one of those people that's like, oh, I wish I was 30.
Right, no.
I actually thank you for the complment.
You're welcome.
But
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm being for real. Like, people always say that, and I'm like, no, I don't even want to go back. Like, I want to be where I'm at. I don't even, 30 was a great age. It was. But right now is a great age.
It's an amazing
Right.
age.
Right now is
Yeah.
great.
We have talked about that. I didn't enjoy my 20s. I can be honest, I didn't enjoy my 20s. Now that I look back at it, I clearly did enjoy my 20s.
Right.
I did a lot of drugs.
Right.
I experimented on a lot of things, and I have a handful of really good memories.
Right.
But I I wasn't aware what was going on at the time that it was.
Right.
And my 30s were good. My late 30s were amazing because I took that trip, which really opened up my whole mind and who I am. And now in my 40s, I couldn't be happier.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward, when I get there, I'm
Yes.
looking forward to the 50s.
Right.
Yeah. So was hairdressing something you always wanted to do when you grew up? No.
So when I graduated from FAU, I'm an owl. Ooh,
There we go.
I'm an alumni.
Are you also a Floridian?
No, but I'm a born again Floridian.
Okay.
And why I say that is because I'm here longer. I'm from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia,
Right.
the suburbs of Philly, but I say Philadelphia. But it was 10 minutes outside of Northeast Philly, where I'm from. I moved here when I was 20.
Yes.
So I have been here now 20. Okay, it will be, okay, I'm 48.
There it is.
So 28 years ish, because whichever month it was August. So this August, I think will be 28 years I'm in Florida.
So you've been here longer.
So I've been in Florida longer than, right. So I say I'm a born again Floridian. So, so I came here, actually, my ex was in radio. So real quick about that, ex was in radio, I was in college. So everyone else that was my age at the time was going away to college. So to leave Philadelphia and come here to college, it wasn't that big of a deal to leave home at 20. Now, when I think about people leaving home at 20, I'm like, don't leave at home at 20, you know?
Yeah.
So I came here, yada, yada, yada. After I graduated college, I did radio sales for a year, and I was not happy because I was actually supposed to be on the other side. And I ended up being, because my boyfriend was on the other side, but his boss convinced me to do sales. You'll do so great. You'll make so much money. So you know me, I'm not that very good at being a suit, just 7 a.m. meetings, I'm a goofball. Like I can't even contain like what I am. So when I'm trying to be in that kind of environment, it's hard for me. So one day I was getting my hair done while I was in radio sales, and I was under the dryer and I heard some girl talking about it, that she just got done hair school, and she was 26-ish. And at the time I was 23-ish. So I was like, she just got done hair school, huh? So all of a sudden I was like, I got back to my hairdresser's chair and I said, I want to do hair. So my hairdresser at the time, Roseanne, she goes, no, don't do it. She had a very thick Italian accent. You're on your feet all day. You don't get breaks, no benefits. The girl next to her, Lisa, looked at me and she said, she goes, you live with your boyfriend, right? You guys, live together. You're not struggling. She goes, do it. Because I was basically like, I want to go to hair school. So then the story is I went to hair school. I did it in 6 months because I went day and night, because I was like, I don't have time for, 2 years.
Yeah.
Got done in 6 months, and then I became a hairdresser. So there's that story.
Okay.
So I'm babbling. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's what we do here. We take turns talking a great deal. So you went the fast route to get the schooling done because
Yes.
you wanted to get going with it.
Yes.
And you're in the radio broadcasting field. I have to ask, did you meet Franny, who's been on this show, while doing that?
No, it's so crazy because I don't even think you knew that part of me.
No, I didn't actually.
That's what brought me to Florida.
Right.
Is my ex was a very successful morning show person here for a very long time. And Franny, I just actually had that conversation with her recently. I go, Franny, I've never even talked to you about why I ended up in Florida. And so she was bartending and she was like 10 deep. So of course she didn't.
Best time to bring it up. Yeah.
And then there's me. I just want to have this like fangirl conversation because I love her to death. We both have golden retrievers, so that's our bonding moment. And I wanted to tell her everything right there in 30 seconds. But so we still haven't been able to have a conversation without her working. But no, I did not meet Franny till later.
Okay.
Later,
Down the
years
way,
later, yeah.
Through the whole nightlife thing.
Right,
that
exactly.
We all kind of met through.
Yes, exactly.
So you went to university, FAU. You were in one field and then made a drastic change to
Yes.
go after something out that did you have a passion for
No.
it, or you just
No.
developed that over time?
Like I said, I was under the dryer and I was like, I want to do hair. So I never ever, younger kids, they start playing with hair, Barbie dolls, make their hair pink. and show their parents. And then later they become hairdressers. I never, ever even played with any of my friends' hair to cut their bangs or this or that. One time when I was 4 or 5, I had a Barbie doll's head in a car door window and it blew off.
Okay. Traumatized.
That memory just
traumatized by a Barbie doll.
That memory just came while I was talking about the Barbie dolls, and I screamed, but her head went off into the highway. So I was playing with her hair, but then it
gone.
So anyway, I never ever, but that moment I said, wow, I want to do hair. So the minute I went and checked out different schools, I ended up at a school, and like I said, I went day and night, 9 to 3. We had 2 hours break, and then I came back. And we went until 10 o'clock at night, and I got all my hours in, because it's about hours in 6 months instead of a year.
Okay. So
because I was determined. I was like, if I decided to do this, I don't want to waste any more time.
So how do you think you developed that mindset then to, well, first shift careers drastically, because it wasn't even like a sidestep, it was a completely different avenue you were going down on a whim, sounds like.
Yeah.
And then you now have to bust your ass and do it in 6 months.
Yeah.
So like have you just been driven as an individual? Like, what do you think it is about yourself that got you to accomplish that in such a short time?
I have always been goal oriented, and college, for instance, I got done in 4 years, where a lot of people sometimes it takes them 6 years, and everyone does make fun of me. My degree is in communication.
Okay.
Not everyone, but it's a joke that we have.
Yeah.
So communication is journalism in the media field. So that's the joke. But I wanted to get done in 4 years no matter what. So I always have just wanted to get done when you're supposed to.
Right.
So I think sports made me that way.
Okay.
So
how so?
Because, well, I've been a runner my entire life.
This I know.
So it's about, and then growing up, I played a lot of other things. But for me personally, if I say I'm going to go out and run 6 miles, I run 6 miles. I don't run 2 and then say I'm going to run 4 in 5 more days. So that mindset of running has always made me a strong, individual when it comes to my mindset.
Right.
So when I decided to do something, I had to get it done. I just didn't want to waste time, because I decided to do that after graduating college, everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to be so successful. I graduated college. I got a degree.
I got a piece of paper.
Exactly. And at the time, I really wish I would have went to school for business, and then I would have learned.
Same here.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning it on the go.
Yes. And you're doing an amazing job, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Just from everything you've accomplished so far, it's unbelievable.
Thank you.
So, right. So to have that business background, it would have been great. But instead it was go to school, go to college. Well, what am I going for? And in the back of my head, I knew what I wanted, but then when I got done, it wasn't really what I wanted. So here we are. Then I just went to hair school, 6 months, got done. And when I got done, during school, I got an assistant job. So on the weekends, because during the week I was in school. So then as soon as I got done, I knew I had a job in a salon the minute I got done with.
Oh, so you'd already set that up. So you knew upon graduation you had a spot.
Yes.
Right. And because I don't know the ins and outs of working in a salon, does that mean you got a job working under an owner of a place? Or is that like when you rent the chair?
Not yet. Not renting.
Okay.
So when I first was assisting, I was basically assisting underneath an owner. So he was the owner. He would do his highlights, and I would be right there, and he was showing me and teaching me. That was during my weekends when I was in school still. As soon as I got done, I took my test that day, and I had a job at Regis. I was working that same day.
The same. Oh, just finished my exam. Boom. Okay, yes. I'm here for work.
Right.
Okay.
So I show up, and I was working that day. I was working at 3:00. That was my first.
And
job.
how does that work in that scenario? The person that owns the salon hires you on a person you do basis, or a salary, or?
I was very lucky. Regis was a corporate company.
Okay.
And they were in the mall. My phone is vibrating behind me. Should I move this? I know we're live, and we're live.
We're not live. But
we
edit.
The joke. Okay, we edit. So I just put it underneath me. Funny. Okay. So basically, because it's a corporation, they interviewed me.
Yes.
And he knew that I was graduating school. So he knew that I was brand new. So sometimes when you're brand new in a mall situation, they want to hire you so you can take all the walk-ins, because there's so many walk-ins back when I started at a place like that. And they were okay with it. You had your, you graduated, you were done.
The board says you're certified to do so.
Nobody has to know that you just got done school.
Yeah.
And I remember, I actually have a story, which being that I'm your hairdresser, I was very good at highlights because that's all I did in school. Highlights, color, girls. Men, I never did one haircut ever when I was in school. Yeah. I don't know how I managed, but I never did a guy's cut. My first guy's cut at Regis, I did his haircut. He walked out. I looked over at one of the managers, Miles, and he looked at me, and the guy walks out, and we all watched him walk out. And Miles goes, "You looked like you were frightened when you did that." Yeah. So I came clean with him, and I said, "That's my first guy's haircut." Yeah. And so he had a conversation with me, and he goes, "Okay, you didn't do bad," but he just saw the look on my face, and he said, "You just looked frightened." Okay. So as he's walking out, like it wasn't terrible, but the way that I looked made the guy probably feel
like you did something wrong, maybe. But you showed him like the mirror, like the back, and like, "Hey, how's this look?"
Right. He paid.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's good. No complaint."
He was going on a business trip, and then he left, and that was it. Okay. But Miles gave me the best advice ever. And he said, "Fake it till you make it." Yes. So that look on my face that I had after that.
Got rid of it.
Yeah. He was like, "They don't know." Yeah. So when people would say, because that's a big conversation when you do hair, "How long you been doing hair?" And I would say, "Over a year now." And because school was 6 months, but over a year. And I added 6 months. And
hey,
from there,
sometimes you fudge a little, right?
Yes.
Some people put stuff on their CV that they've their resume that they've never done before.
Right.
And then they're like, "Well, I'll fake it. I'll make it. It'll work. Yeah. It'll be fine."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Interesting.
That was my very first job in the hair business. Okay.
Has there been a horrible moment
in the hair business?
Here we go.
Okay. But it was in hair school.
Okay.
So I was doing a relaxer, and she said she didn't have color on her hair. So when you do, no, I take it back. I was doing color on her hair, and we asked if she had done a relaxer, and if you have metallic dyes in your hair mixed with color, it's not good.
Not good.
So as I'm putting the color on her roots, it starts smoking. So all of a sudden, it was almost like it was boiling like an egg. So I looked at her and I said, "Are you sure you didn't do anything with a metallic dye?" And she admitted it. Yeah. I just did a relaxer. And I said, so we washed it out immediately, but the whole time it was smoking. Like you could have fried an egg on her hair, on her scalp. It was sizzling.
Was it burning her head?
She was fine.
Okay.
But it was sizzling. So we got her to the sink and washed it out. But that was in hair school. So
right.
I never had that kind of experience ever again.
Thank God.
I do have a color experience, and I've been doing her hair to this day, 20 plus years. I turned her hair bright pink.
Okay.
By accident.
Which nowadays would be fine.
Right.
People would be like, "Oh, damn, that looks good, girl."
It was the brightest pink you can imagine. Not like a soft pink. Yeah. It was like a hot pink.
Okay.
And we were doing red and highlights. And she, to this day, Sheila, which I love you, if you're going to ever watch this.
Yeah. Well, she will, because you're going to tell her.
I'm going to tell her.
Yeah. Hi, Sheila.
I was doing her hair she's Tuesday. She's my client. I was doing her hair, and all of a sudden I took the foils out, and it was bright pink.
Damn.
And I looked. It was that same look that I had back in school. But at this point now, I'm doing hair probably 8-ish, 9-ish, 10 years. So everybody around me, they knew what was going on, and they saw. And so it was a team effort of what to do. And we were at the sink, and we just kind of gave her a little wash and got out the pink. It was fine. But to this day, we talk about it. So that's 2 times in my 23 years.
Was that the first time she had gotten her hair done by you?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. It was like, I think we did something a little different that day.
Yeah.
We were doing red. So sometimes red's a little tricky with blonde.
Okay.
So, which is bleach. So that's a harsh word, but girls that get highlights, it's bleach. So bleach and red, it can be very tricky. So
Interesting.
So that's, but 23 years, just 2 times that I can say a nightmare.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
And how did you, obviously you're in the shit, as they say, you're like in the situation. You're just dealing with it. You're fine. Like freaking out, not freaking out, staying calm.
Everyone saw the way I felt. And everywhere I've worked, I've always had a team of people that just were like family. So they all saw, and they just immediately were, we all went right to the sink, and Sheila was so cool that she was fine with it. So usually you might have somebody that's obviously not okay with it.
Some people would lose their shit on you. They would just get up and blow up.
Right. We went to the sink, we did what we needed to do, and she left, and she was it was perfect. And I don't even think she wanted a discount or anything. I mean, she was just so happy that her hair came out the way she wanted that we fixed it. But normally, that would be a very scary situation. And I'm sure that the fear was in my face, just like that guy's haircut. Back to that.
Yeah, which doesn't help the situation, because then the person is looking at you for reassurance that it'll be
saw
okay.
my face in the mirror. And she knew something was wrong.
Right, because you're opening up the tin foil. She can't see it. And
they're staring at you in that mirror.
Yeah.
So they see how you react.
They see your reaction, and then they're like, "What the fuck's going on back there?"
Yeah.
Oh, we're good.
Right.
Just,
So.
All right. So 2 things out of 20 some odd years. That's a pretty good track record.
Exactly.
Awesome. At what point? Because I know you very well, and I know your personality, so I'm not shocked that you have a successful clientele that comes in regularly. How long did that take? How much struggle was there involved in getting from going into a salon that's like a franchise type thing, where it's in a mall, you have walk-ins. It's, I remember going to the malls when I was younger and just walking in. I didn't have an appointment. Hey, I need a haircut.
Right.
But eventually, where you are now, where you have your own clientele, you now, if I'm not mistaken, you rent a chair at a place.
Yes.
Everybody that knows and loves you. Like, I drive when I come get my hair, I want to say close to 30 minutes to come and get it trimmed up. I'm not the only person that does that. Right. Everyone knows that Char does hair.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because I've been to your house. You live very nicely.
Yes.
I've, in my more alcoholic days, I would see you out almost as often as I was.
Right. Weekend drinking.
Yeah.
But I would see you on the weekends.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Almost as often. Like, I was out every day.
Yeah.
You were Friday through Sunday.
Yeah.
There was not a Sunday night that we didn't see each other on the rooftop.
Right.
Back in the day.
We actually got married on the roof.
Not
me and you.
But you and her and Dennis.
Me and
100%. When she says the roof, we're talking. We're talking about Roxy's rooftop. Where, as all of you listeners know and viewers, is where I met most of my very close friends.
That's where we met.
100%.
But if I was friends with you then, you would have been at the wedding.
Yeah, but that was before me. Yeah, that was before I had gone there.
I know.
Not too long before I got there, I think. But yeah, absolutely.
2011.
Yeah, I mean, I started, like, I wasn't, like, I showed up in 2010, but I don't think I was really into the mix until about 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much when I started.
The group.
Yeah, because that's when, like, I'd reached my regulars status after about, like, shorter than a year of kind of coming in and out.
Yes.
Because I would sit at the top of the bar by myself and just get drunk every night with a pint of Jack
I actually used to hear really good
Daniels.
things about you before we became friends.
Oh, lovely. So you never talked to any of the people that don't like me. Lovely.
Well, you're talking to the... Oh, have you ever talked to anyone that doesn't like me?
Yeah,
It's just so weird because when they don't know you, they don't want to like you. Or
people judge you based on bullshit.
But exactly. Yeah. But I used to hear such good things about you because I would hear about you, the chef, and he's at Roxy's and he's at the bar and just hanging out. So
I literally would just sit at the top of the bar. I'd have on average 8 to 12 pint glasses of Jack Daniels.
Oh, see, I never knew that that's as much as you drank.
Yeah, I like looking at the bottom of a bottle, basically. That's
in my brain, because I am the weekend drinker. I just imagine that everyone's like us, where it's just we do crazy drinks during the weekend. Like I did not know that was the amount. That
I was 7 days a week. I'd sit there. I'd stare at the TV and socialize with the bartenders. That's how I met them and became friends. And but I was there for a different reason. I was that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're going off.
No, 100% fine. I've admitted on TV many times I had an alcohol problem and I solved it.
I'm not laughing that you just said that.
No,
100%. We went off track.
Absolutely, which we do on the show. We kind of bounce around, which is fine. But yeah, that's where we met. That's where a lot of people have met you over the years. And then my question is, because I know the lifestyle you live, I've been to your house for Christmas.
Yes.
So it's interesting to find out the struggles that people go through in order to get themselves to their successes, whether it's like, mental health success, financial success, whatever it may be, marriage success, because you were with someone before and then you and Dennis got together, and I don't think anyone can deny the fact of how happy the two of you are with each other, So you were working in a salon where you took walk-ins and all that sort of stuff. And then at some point you wanted to build your own clientele to the point where now you are more or less, that's like the main income. Right? This is how you live. Which is phenomenal. So you have a ton of people. So what was that like going from the salon that, you're taking walk-ins to now living the best life, just doing it by yourself?
So it was steps. So I worked at the Regis, which was corporate walk-ins, and I went to a salon that was owned. That's the salon I used to get my hair done at. Then I went to Gennaro's, it was 4 minutes away from where I live, and the same, that Winn-Dixie Plaza where you've been to. So I worked there, and same thing, you work for someone, you get a commission, build up my clientele, same thing with the walk-ins, build. But I was never that hairdresser that got upset because there was always a walk-in list. And there was a lot of hairdressers that would get upset, like, I was supposed to get that person. And I'm like, okay, it's okay. Like, it'll come. I'll get there. Out. So did that for years. And then 2005, I actually killed my clientele.
You physically killed somebody?
So
wait a second. I thought you said only 2 bad things happened in 20 some odd years. Murder's a totally different situation here. Let's get back here on track.
Okay. In 2005, I destroyed my hair clientele.
Okay.
And the way that I did that was, I'm very passionate about things, as you know. Mm-hmm. If I like something, I become obsessed, and I want everyone to like it just as much as I do. So I've always been, multiple streams of income. You want to get, things, different places you can get some money to come in. So I got involved in something that I sold products, but I also was getting business builders. Okay. And I did very good. But my clients would see me and they would think, she's going to talk about the business and want me to, I'm sick of hearing about it, because I was excited. I didn't necessarily want to turn them off, but I was so excited about it. So they stopped going to me and they would start going to other people.
Oh, so when you say you destroyed your clientele, I mean, like you fucked shit up for yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because my passion, just because I was so excited about something else,
something new that you were doing on the side,
right?
They were interpreting it as like, oh fuck, she's going to try and sell me on something.
Yes. So when they saw me, they just would assume like, I don't want to. Wow. I just want to get my hair done. I don't want to buy $60 worth of skin products and hair products and whatever. Yeah. So I realized that, and I realized it fast. And as people were going to other people, which I also would recommend that they went to other people, because I would always say, okay, like if you can't get in with me, go with somebody else. So then I started at a brand new salon because one of the people that I worked with was leaving, and I decided to go with her. And I decided that it would be great because it would be a fresh start.
New faces.
Yes. And if it was new faces, if it was old faces that just wanted to be in a new place, so we could associate just that other stuff over here. So when I started at the new place, I still was doing that other business, but I realized what I was doing and I stopped talking about it.
Oh, okay.
So I just was focused on hair 100%. And then I got back into the bar business because I've been in the bar business my entire life. So this was now in 2008. And I got a job at a sports bar in the same plaza that I was working in. So I figured bartend 2 days a week here, 10 stores down is my salon. I can meet people here, get them to come in.
Absolutely. It's great networking.
Met multiple people, clients that I still have to this day that I met while I was bartending. So I needed a way to rebuild my clientele. And that's how I did it.
Yeah.
So I worked there for 7 years. Then I left and went to where I used to do your hair at. And that's where I started renting.
Right.
And was there for almost 9 years, and now where I am currently. And then I've always had my LLC when I started renting, called Charlene's Hair Party.
Okay.
And because it's always a party when you're getting your hair done.
Yeah, it is.
And after where I'm at now, I'm still renting, and I'm with everyone that I used to work with at the other place.
Not at the place that I've been to.
You've been to the new place, I think. Lake Charleston Plaza.
The only place I've been to is I've only been to one place.
Okay, so
where it was, you were on one side of it before, and then they opened it up.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
you're on
So you've never been to the new place?
No, I have not.
So I've been at the new place now. It was a year in January.
Okay.
So you haven't been there.
And where is this located?
It is in the Lake Charleston Plaza. It is
What major roads would be the intersection?
Hypoluxo and Hagen Ranch.
More west of where you were?
Yes. It's actually, I've been in the same area literally the whole entire time, besides the mall stuff that was at the Boynton Mall. But after that, I've been in the same area, the same like 0.2 miles for 22 years.
Well, it's just close to home, yeah?
Or 21 years. Yeah.
Which is good. It's easy to get to.
Yeah.
So interesting that, you were having such a good start to your career, and then self-sabotage almost without even knowing it.
Yes.
You lost your clientele.
Yes.
And then quickly noticed that.
Yes.
Pivoted, as we talk about on here, when you're creating a company or changing lifestyles or what have you.
Right.
Adversity comes at you.
Yes.
The better you do, the more it comes at you, the harder it's going to be trying to knock you off your course.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to pivot.
Exactly.
And you figured it out quite quickly.
Yes.
Bartending job, super smart.
Yes.
Great place to socialize with individuals.
Yes.
Always going to be asked, oh, what do you do besides bartend? Because that tends to be a normal question from the patron.
Yes.
Oh, is this all you do? Are you in school? Or what do you do else? So a lot of them say real estate. But you were like, hey, I'm a hairdresser as well. And actually, it's in the plaza.
Yeah.
Like, you can come see me and just, let's see what happens.
Yep.
And boom, clientele comes up, and you're in a much better spot after that.
Yes.
And then you get to rent a chair, which is better for you.
Yes.
Because now it literally is the LLC.
Yes.
And when did you start the LLC? Like, at what point in your path to becoming your own boss did you realize, okay, now it's time I should be my own employer?
Yes, that was as soon as I started renting. So now I'm at this place. I would say 11 years ago.
Wow.
I think I started the LLC.
Yeah.
I think.
And not hard to do, right?
Not hard to do
It's
at
a matter
all.
of going online and filling out the paperwork.
Exactly.
And then is there like a yearly thing you have to do? I know obviously you have to do your taxes.
Yes.
Right? But I mean, like, you go online, you fill out the form, you pay whatever the fee is for this LLC.
Yes.
And then is there anything else after that besides just keeping track of the money you make and filing your taxes?
Again with the taxes. And then what you pay, you renew it every year.
You renew it. So that's it. Once a year you have to renew the thing. The reason why I'm going so much into this is because Tice behind the camera over there is going to be creating his own LLC.
Yay.
And we've been trying to figure out if there's like what exactly is involved and how much. And I know TJ just did it for himself. We were sitting in Brian's house the other night, like a couple months ago, and it was a matter of like Brian just said, okay, let's do this. Pull up his phone, boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Give me your card, boom, 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 done.
Yeah.
And that was it, LLC.
Yeah, because I actually heard you talking about TJ creating that on your other episode.
I talk about him all the time.
And I was so excited after I heard you talk about that. And I was like, finally, TJ, it's about time.
Well, I mean,
know him too.
everyone around here that we hang out with on the regular, everyone owns their own company.
Yes.
And not just like saying they own it, like everyone has a company registered somewhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Most of them are here, obviously, because they're American. I have mine in Barbados because I'm not from here.
Right.
And, there's always different ways to do things. But, yeah, it's important. You need to surround yourself with people that are trying to move forward and become better business people.
Right.
Because
and
everything is.
If Dennis was here, actually, he would have more information on creating the LLC.
But he did it all.
Because he's the one he's the business person when it comes to, I'm just the,
hey, let's do it. I can do it. Just tell me what I'm doing.
I'm here to cut your hair.
That's awesome.
So the fact that Tice wants to create his LLC, Dennis would be over there actually
already doing it for him, man.
Right.
Like,
it would have been done by the time
we finished talking, he'd already have his own business.
Right. He would already have like 1,000 followers too.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about social media. That's separate.
I mean, I'll take 1,000. Alex, followers for 1,000.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I pulled that one out of my ass, actually.
Alex, what is
1,000 followers?
Yes,
okay.
yes. And all Alex, rest in peace.
I know, right? Now that after I said it, I'm like, oh, fuck, the dude's gone. Yeah. So good segue though, bringing up Dennis.
Yes.
So let's get into this because you have a successful marriage.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, the proposal was done at
the time San Diego Chargers.
Yes.
Yes.
At the stadium.
One of the best days of my life.
Right, because you're an avid football fan,
Yes.
freak, whatever you want
Yes.
to call it, who gives a shit.
Yes.
You love
we
your
love
football, right?
We love it. We love
Yeah.
it. And at the time they were in San Diego. We were there for our friend's actual her birthday, and Dennis surprised me because I had no idea. We actually surprised our friend Cheryl with the birthday trip, and actually Cheryl, may she rest in peace. Actually, but that was one of the best trips of my life because we actually did a scavenger hunt for her birthday. Creating that. And as soon as she got the scavenger hunt, we were going to San Diego. We created the trip. So we did the trip, and I had no idea that he was planning to propose at the game.
How long had you guys been dating at this point in time?
At the time, it was 7 years.
Get out of here, yeah?
7 years.
Yeah, she's not sore about it at all, Dennis.
7
it was
years.
7 wonderful years.
So we had gone through multiple conversations of the normal girl conversation of when are we going to do it?
I don't know these conversations. I've expressed this before. I've had multiple unsuccessful relationships.
We would get into fights on the obvious holidays, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, my birthday, all of the holidays where you expect it to happen.
Okay.
And when it didn't, then the next day, of course, we would be fighting, which is so stupid. And so with that being said, I completely had no idea. And we were getting ready for the game that morning, and it was so funny because at the time me and Cheryl were besties, and she was a Dolphins fan, and so she had her Dolphins gear on, I had my Chargers gear on. We both put our hair in side ponytails. We were just being goofy. And Dennis looks at me and goes, "Are you really going to rock that side ponytail all day?" And I looked at him and I'm like, "Yeah, like what's the big deal?" So because in the back of his head he's proposing. So it was before the game, and it wasn't on the Jumbotron, because then the next question is, people say, was it on the Jumbotron? He didn't do it in time where you had to send that in months before, which is fine, because all of a sudden he gets up and he gets down, does the whole thing, gets down on one knee, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, there's a video. And I'm like, I literally am like this, because I have no clue that what he's about to do, and he does it. And I'm blown away. So I start like jumping up and down, and I actually pull the ring, and they're screaming in the background. Cheryl's screaming, "No, you put the ring on her finger. You put the ring on." And so he puts the ring on, and then I jump up and down, and I push him like Elaine from Seinfeld.
Oh my God, seriously?
I literally push him, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
So that actually has a couple million views on YouTube, that fun video.
Nice.
So that was fun. So it was just so fun. So then the game starts, and I just can't even focus. And the Chargers won that day.
Nice.
So that was so fun. So, I mean, it was just so unexpected. And my advice to women out there that are just constantly giving their significant others pressure, it's going to happen when it happens. And with the women giving men pressure, it turns them off. It doesn't. So
doesn't help the situation.
Right. So I had weak moments, but I learned from them. So, I mean, anything I've ever done where I know that was wrong, I just try to always learn from that.
And how do you do that?
I know it's wrong, and then
in the moment or after the fact?
In the moment-ish.
Yeah.
And because if I'm going to give advice, I'm going to give the best advice. So if I'm actually in that moment, if I could take my own advice, then I would listen.
Right.
I'm a bad listener too.
Okay.
Dennis will tell you that.
Yeah.
So, but in 5th grade, they used to give the reports out, the discipline reports, and say she's a bad listener. So, my entire life I've been a bad listener.
You stayed true. Yeah.
So that's another side note. So anyway, I just try to learn from my mistakes. That's the biggest life thing. I try to learn from my mistakes. And now that at the age that I'm at, I really, really think before I do things. Important. I really follow the best book ever, because I know you love reading. And I actually have a confession to make about your book.
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you that in a second.
Okay.
So The 4 Agreements is my favorite.
Okay, I know of the book. I haven't read it yet.
I think I've told you about it. It literally, let me see, over there in your...
I'm like, I've heard about it, and then I'm like, did I buy
in your
it
area.
yet? No, I haven't.
So The 4 Agreements, the reader that you are, you would probably get done in 30 minutes.
Okay.
And it is basically, it's what I follow in my life. And when someone turned me on to it, it's exactly what I follow every single day of my life. All right, the confession about your book.
Yeah.
So after your big event, which was amazing, when you came back from your world traveling, I was reading your book and I was 3/4 done.
I'm a bit nervous.
Negan.
Yeah.
He was maybe 8 weeks, 10 weeks old. Negan's our golden retriever.
I know where this is going.
Who's TikTok famous, who's a therapy dog.
Is that why you guys are always going to the police stations? Okay, we'll get into that too in a second.
Fire department.
Okay.
He chewed up the book.
He ate the book.
He ate the book.
All right. And you're almost done.
So I was 3/4 of the way done, and he chewed up the book.
Damn.
So I saved it, I think.
Yeah. Probably gonna be really hard to read though.
So
I can give you another one. I have
So-
I have a few copies left. Yeah. Not a lot
here's my
actually, but I do
confession.
have a few. That's
so
fine.
I have such a guilty conscience. Like I didn't
Yeah.
even have to tell you that,
Not
but I
at all.
had
I
to
would
tell
never
you
have known. Yeah.
that because it was so interesting reading about just actually your change from when I met you originally to watching you travel and where you're at now.
Clearly, I can look back at who I was before that trip, and you know my whole life at that time.
Yes.
I was, without even knowing it, I wasn't in a healthy spot.
Right.
You know, I couldn't see how unhealthy I was
Right.
back then for various reasons. And it's funny because while traveling at the beginning portion of my trip, because I had done it for 3 separate reasons, and one reason was to get over a situation,
Right.
I had found myself earlier on in the trip reaching out to you.
Yes.
I had reached out to you because
Yes.
something I had come across, social media, whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, I remember, I think I was actually in Budapest at the time. And I'm pretty confident I remember the whole hostel. Anyhow, and that just shows like the relationship we've had, you know, over the years.
Yes.
Is like you were the person I was like, I don't know if I was texting or WhatsApping or Facebooking or something.
We've definitely always stayed connected.
Yeah, which is important. And that's what
Yes.
what I express is like, I've taken all of the people that I was acquaintances with, and I've funneled down to just a very small group of people, and you know all of them
Yes.
who live on this property, and that's who I hang out with, and that's it.
Yes.
But it doesn't take away from individuals that one cares about.
Yes.
You know, because if you have a true friendship,
Yes.
it doesn't matter how long you're away from somebody, because
Right.
people understand that life is going on.
Yeah.
And when a good time is to come back, it'll happen.
Yes.
And it'll be as if I don't. Besides St. Patty's Day, I was in town for St. Patty's Day, and I ran into you and Dennis. And before that, I'm not really sure when the last time was, but it doesn't matter because as soon as we see each other, it's like, hey, how you doing? And it's like minutes didn't even pass.
Right, exactly.
Which is important. I'll get you another copy of the book so you can finish it. No stress there. So back to the partner situation, because we had a lovely conversation about the importance of picking someone who meets what you're looking for or challenges you enough to live an interesting and happy life.
Yes.
What was it that made you realize that this was the true, this is what I want?
Dennis?
Right here, yeah.
Do you want to hear the Jerry Springer story?
Sure.
Oh, may he rest in peace too.
Yeah, everyone, they're dropping like flies.
So that's 3 now we've talked about. Okay, so I was a bridesmaid in his first wedding.
Okay, there you go. Jerry Springer.
But it's, so I like to say that to get people like excited to hear about that. But then I go back into, it didn't really happen the way that you're imagining it.
Right, I mean, you didn't walk up to the altar while he was about to say, I do, and be like, bitch, mine.
You know, when someone says, is there anything someone has to say?
I think I want him. Yeah.
No. So he was always my guy best friend, always my just bestest guy friend. We actually got into a fight in a sprinkler at Green Acres Park for somebody's 18th birthday. And I forget what started it, but we ended up it was hysterical. I don't know if it was water balloons or something. We were doing something, and then we just started, he picked me up and whatever. It was like best friends though. It wasn't anything more than that. Cause I would always be like, ew, like he was a guy friend.
Yeah.
So he was always my guy best friend. And years later, I used to do his hair. Dennis is bald now.
Yeah, when he had it.
So I used to cut his hair. And he started having issues with his relationship, which it's sad because, again, I was always best friends with him. The person he was with at the time wanted to have kids. And I think that they should have had that conversation before they got married, because that's a deal breaker. He didn't want kids. So as soon as she started talking about the kid thing, he was like, so they obviously started getting further apart because of that. So they were getting, further apart. I still stayed friends with him. My ex at the time, who was in radio, we started drifting apart because I was always his number one fan, and because he was in one of the most popular morning shows here. And I finally was doing something that I was passionate about. And I was running my first marathon, and I was raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And I was so excited about it. And at the time, he was on the radio. He could have just talked about it and raised money like for me. And I wasn't talking about like a crazy amount, but maybe like a couple $100. So long story long, all of a sudden I said, wow, I actually don't want to be with him anymore. We were 5 years apart. He was 5 years older. And because the first time in my life, something that I was passionate about, for so long, I was passionate for him and what he was doing. He didn't care. And it wasn't just because I was running, because I've been a runner my whole life. It was my first marathon. That's a big deal to runners, 26.2 miles. I've run 5 total since then. But it was just because he didn't care about the cause. So anyway, so that's what took us apart.
Right.
And then
so both parties were drifting from the person they were
so we
with.
weren't like cheating on each other.
You didn't slide into his DMs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Because back then there wasn't that.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was, and it wasn't
Probably
like that.
wasn't.
So we just
instant message maybe.
we actually slowly came together. So when he was actually officially separated, and it was on the way to the D word, divorce, we started actually hanging out more. And then I was like, all right, I think I like you.
Right.
And like more than you're annoying.
Yeah. Which makes sense though, because I don't have a partner, but you need to have that person be your friend.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If they're not your friend and it's not love hate, then there isn't a relationship. You have to have that relationship, and you have to remember why you started liking them.
Yeah.
Because when you like someone, you are so smitten. But when you love somebody, there's such that fine line between love and hate. So when I talk to my clients, because it's therapy session when I do their hair.
Absolutely, very much so.
I tell them, I say, you have to like your husband. And they actually think about that. And they're like, wow. I'm like, okay, you can tell. I can meet a stranger. Tyson, I already love him.
Yeah.
I love him. I already love you. I love him. And I just met him. But you can say that to someone that you just met.
Yeah.
And it can be exciting. But I don't know him that well yet to say, all right, I do like him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
I do, yeah.
So with Dennis, I liked him so much, and we had so many fun times together that all of a sudden one day I was, all right, I'm now getting a little smitten over you, and now I'm starting to get more than that.
Right.
And we created a relationship.
Yeah. And 7 years.
And then our exes, my ex got married, had 2 kids, I think, and so happy.
Congrats for him.
His ex got married and has 2 kids, I think, maybe more.
Yep.
I'm not saying that we're friends with them, and
Right.
they probably don't like us. Who knows? It doesn't bother
everyone's
me.
life turned out the way
Everyone's
they
happy.
wanted
They're
it to
happy.
be.
They're probably the best parents ever. I mean, actually, I know they're the best parents
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing what they want to do. We're still drinking on the weekends, just like we did back then.
Yeah.
And life is still fun for us.
Yeah.
So that's
and you have your new golden retriever. Yeah,
Negan.
we're going to get into that in a second.
Yes.
But so with marriage and having that right person with you who is a friend first for you, and then creating that bond and 7 years of dating, and then now married for...
So we are married for this past September was 11 years.
There you go. So that's
Yes.
18 years together.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
So actually, I think I'm off because I feel like we've been together 20. So
Okay.
where did I lose time?
No, 2 years or somewhere.
All right, somewhere.
Yeah. We'll just
When
keep
you
it as
say
it is.
ish, it always
Now, when he sees this, if it was 20, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
Because he might actually...
Well, I'm like, we're together 20 years.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So in 20 years of marriage, I was fortunate enough to witness my parents together for 48 and a half years, which is like mind-blowing because you don't hear that often.
That's
you know?
a dream come true for
absolutely.
for a son.
It's phenomenal. You know, it fortunately, taught me some things that I assume is possible, but, have not happened yet, which
Yeah.
I'm fine with.
Yes.
It will when it will. But as I know, my parents expressed to me that they always loved each other, but didn't always like one another.
Right.
Right, which
Yes.
is a bit different than what you're saying. But
No,
you have to.
no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to love them. That's what, I'm sorry, go.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Well, you're always going to love the person. That's what I mean. When you meet someone you just met, you can say, I love you. So you're always going to love your person.
Yeah.
But you're not always going to like them. That's why I tell people you have to remember why you started liking them.
Perfect.
Okay, so back to your parents.
So that was the gist of it. So my question leading up from there was, what did you do in your marriage during those moments when you didn't like one another, or when you didn't like him? Like what do you hold on to? What do you pull yourself away from and say, well, wait a second, how does that?
So I go back. I mean, I feel like I'm a different kind of girl.
Okay.
When it comes to stuff like that, because I come from parents that got divorced, and in those moments of not liking each other, I never ever went to any of my friends and said, oh my God, Dennis is on my nerves right now, this or that, or this is what he did. And this, like, a lot of women, that's what I say, I'm different, because a lot of women will vent to their friends.
Right.
And that's good for them. And maybe that makes
That's their process.
Yes. It's the way that they deal with it. For me personally, I don't do that. So I would deal with it with myself and then figure it out with him eventually. So I didn't want to spread what was happening with, if ever we got into an argument or this or that, because we really don't fight. But if anything gets on my nerves, just little things here and there, I'm not going to bitch about it to anyone else, because I just don't want to gossip about my husband.
Right.
So then I figure out, and then we end up, getting into it about whatever, but then we get over it. So
Right. You communicate.
yeah. And I mean, a lot of people that are around us, because they're around us for so much, it'll be funny, because if we ever have moments of like kissing, because I'm sure you're around us a lot, they make jokes and they're like, ew, like mom and dad are kissing. You never see mom and dad kissing or show affection, because that's another thing. I just never, ever wanted to show affection in front of my friends, because sometimes we were with people that weren't in a relationship.
Right.
And I never wanted them to feel bad about themselves. So I got into the habit of that in the beginning of me and Dennis. I remember hanging out with one of our friends, and she was having an issue with her boyfriend at the time. And I think we were at a concert, and she just, being all over each other and touchy-feely, I just never was that way with him. And that ended up becoming a habit all these years later, because I always had other people's feelings that I don't want to make them feel bad and be like, oh, Dennis, because I know what we have. I don't have to constantly like.
You don't need the reassurance. Reassurance?
Wait.
Is that the word?
Reassure.
See? That's what I'm saying. It's fine. We're not in Hollywood right now.
Reassurement? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes the English words don't sound right to me.
Right. You're right.
But anyhow,
okay.
You didn't have the need to be reassured.
Yes.
Which allowed you to be aware of other people's feelings of the
Yes.
situation that might be around
Right.
you, which is admirable.
So when Dennis and I do get into stuff, because obviously we're not perfect, we're human. He's a Scorpio, I'm an Aries. I like to, which some people don't believe in that kind of stuff, but personality wise, Scorpios are leaders. They are stubborn. They like to keep to themselves when they get upset. Aries, we are wild. We love to talk about our feelings. We like to talk about them right then and there. We just want to get it out in the open.
Right.
So if anything was to ever happen, I want to say to him, let's talk about this, but then he would be quiet. So eventually they'll come around when they want to. So for us, we definitely have that difference where I'm just like that same person that's jumping around when he proposed to, let's just figure this out right now, which Scorpios want to take a little minute to come around when they want to. So it's just a different way of
everyone deals
operating.
With it differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, you guys, both of you did not want to have children.
Yes, we were equally the same.
Which is where you're at now.
Yes.
Now, you had
yes.
a golden.
Well, so we've had 2 past goldens.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And now you have the newest one.
This is our third.
Third golden.
Our third golden retriever.
Negan. And he has his own social media platforms.
Yes.
Correct?
He is TikTok famous.
Okay.
He's got 40,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Doing various tricks or?
Just TikTok stuff.
Okay.
The person that introduced me to TikTok, they basically said you follow what other people are doing. So the thing with TikTok is you're not copying people because they want you to do what they're doing. And then you recreate it in your own way.
Gotcha.
And they get credit for it because there's no stealing on TikTok.
Okay.
And then other people see it, and it's Tucker, the golden retriever. Everyone knows he's the famous golden. He's Negan's idol. He would do something, and then you say, "Oh, that's cute," and then we would recreate it. So, but also he's a therapy dog.
Right. So I've seen this. I've seen the social media that you do, and I see you at the fire department.
Yes.
Right. Often, and I didn't read or dive into what it was. I just always saw the visual of the dog, and then the fire department.
Yes.
So how did this come
So
to
he is
be?
the official therapy dog for the Green Acres Fire Department.
Okay.
Engine 94 and Engine 95.
And what does that entail?
Hello, BK, the chief. I'm saying hello to you.
Go. All right. Shout out BK.
Yes, he's the chief.
All right.
So a good friend of ours, Pete. I love you, Pete.
Yeah.
He owns Mississippi Sweets, best barbecue ever.
Okay.
Even though I'm a vegetarian, but it's okay.
It's a mean sauce.
Pete actually put us together.
Okay.
BK was looking for somebody on Facebook, asking advice about getting a therapy dog because he called up a few places and they kind of blew him off. And he was looking for an official therapy dog for the fire station. Back in the day, Dalmatians were the dogs.
Right. Absolutely.
That would be in the fire station. So Pete saw that he was looking for that, and I wasn't friends with him at the time. I didn't know him, and Pete said, "I have the perfect person for you." So Pete calls me up and tells me all about the Chief Fuller, and he said, "You have to call him." He goes, "First, he's the nicest man you'll ever talk to and meet. Second, he's looking for a therapy dog, so he knows that Negan would be the perfect fit." I call him up, and first of all, firefighters are my favorite. My dad was a Philadelphia firefighter, so the minute that the chief was looking for this, and he tells me on the phone, he wanted to hear my dad's story first.
Right.
And so at first I just wanted to get into him, and he goes, no, I want to hear your dad's story. Because I go, I have a story about my dad that is really deep. And so after we got done talking about my dad, I'm obsessed with firefighters, but not in a creepy way. That's always my thing that I say. And then I go into my dad. So he then tells me that the leading cause of death for firefighters is suicide, which is, I did not know that.
I didn't.
So he wanted to have a therapy dog just make visits, come in, maybe after a tough call that they had, we would just come in, say hi, hang out for a little bit. And so far we've been there every week since we got together. The very first visit, that it was basically like a press conference. The very first visit, I didn't think that when we walked in, I was just walking in and Pete surprised me actually. They were all videotaping it and I was with Negan and, even though he's not supposed to do that. That was one of the things in class, but he's still pulling me. So he's like pulling me to go inside and I see everyone lined up with their cameras and video cameras. And I'm like, what is going on? And so it was basically everyone was meeting Negan that day. And then we went into the part where all the firefighters were. Okay. And then the chief had me tell my story about that. So now that's one of his places that he visits. So he has 7 different places that he visits and on his list. And
that's phenomenal.
He actually has his own firefighter badge.
No doubt.
It says serving since 2023.
Amazing.
It makes me so happy.
So you brought it up, and we don't have to talk about it.
Yes.
But I know you're very forthcoming.
Yes.
With the situation
Yes.
with your father, because I've seen all the posts that you do every year,
Absolutely.
in memory and whatnot. And I can understand how wonderful, not just the fact that you have a dog that can help other people, because I know that's something very important to you, but how it also connects with the fact that, your father was a firefighter.
Yes.
And the incident that you may talk
Yes.
about right now.
No, I'll talk about it.
Okay, happened at what age for you?
I was 4 months old.
4 months old.
Yes.
So
yes.
barely even. Yeah.
So it was August 17th, 1975. Okay. I was 4 months old, and my dad was blown up in a fire, and it was called the Gulf Oil Refinery. And he was actually on his way to the shore, which was Wildwood, New Jersey. And at the time, there was no cell phones or anything, obviously. I didn't have to say that.
74, yeah.
People, 1975, they got a hold of him, and he basically did a U-turn, and my mom still was on her way to the shore with me and my sister, who at the time, she was 7-ish, maybe 6-ish. And my dad got called because there was a huge explosion, and he was called in to save the guys that were in there that had been stuck. So he went into the explosion, and actually, the day of his funeral, which was in 2014, one of his captains, he told me that day that he should have died that day when I was 4 months old. He said that there's no way that he thought my dad was going to survive that. So he had to dive into 6 feet of diesel to get to these firefighters to try to save them. And he went through the diesel, came out, and after that, 70% of his body was burned. So him and two men, they ended up surviving, and there was 8 men that died. So he was in the hospital for, I would say, 6 months, and I was bounced around to different family members because, again, I was 4 months old. My mom was in and out of the hospital visiting him. And again, he wasn't supposed to survive. So he got out of the hospital and he was forced into retirement, actually, after all that was over. And from that day on, growing up, I never knew the struggles that he went through. But as I got older, I learned it. And this also is a big reason why I'm the way that I am. I'm very strong-minded and determined because of my father.
Absolutely.
So as I grew up, they got into other businesses, this and that, but he just always was so strong. And I knew that he was a firefighter, and he didn't really talk about it because it was very, he basically had post-traumatic, and he never really talked about it. So, but August 17th was always a big celebration day. So he called it blow up day. So growing up, it was like his birthday.
Okay.
So it's a very big deal every time that day comes around because we honor the men that they lost. And we also, I actually have a patch of one of the men that died that day. His son gave it to me the day of my dad's funeral in 2014. And this man was hysterical crying when he gave the patch to me. He wanted me to bury the patch with my dad when my dad got cremated, and I asked him if I could keep it. Yeah. And he said absolutely, and I have it in a frame right in my living room area. So, but going along with the therapy dog stuff, I was in the hospital with my dad when he was going through one of his things, and he was sick in the hospital, and I went home to visit him. And this was when we had Sully, our first golden retriever. A therapy dog walked into the hospital room, and my dad lit up. Oh, wow. So this is a big reason why I decided to do the therapy dog stuff, again, involving my dad. And I was like, who is this? And it was a Great Pyrenees. And the lady explained that it was a therapy dog. Yeah. So I was like, how do I get involved? She goes, I told her I was from Florida. She goes, when you get home, just Google or figure out, and they'll get back to you. I don't know what it is you have to do in your state. So I found out the information, but when I found out, the day that I found out the person called me is the day we found out Sully had cancer. Okay. That was our first golden. So then it went out the window and we dealt with the cancer. Then we got Sawyer Jameson, our second golden retriever, which you met a lot. 9 years came and went, and I always wanted to do it, and I just never did it. And he ended up passing cancer. The minute we got Negan, that's it. I was
doing it.
6 months. He did his puppy. It was called the Puppy Star class, and he did his first training there. Then he did his Canine Good Citizen, all the different stuff, and then his therapy dog training. Yeah. He failed the first time. Which everyone laughed at me because it's just funny that the dog fails the test. And then I would not let that stop me. Yeah. And every day I would play Rocky, Getting Strong Now. And me and Negan, that's it. And we took the class again, 6 more weeks. And then he took the test again 6 weeks later, and he passed. Nice. So there's that. And I'm sorry, I'm just babbling.
No, that's good. No, it's important. Everyone on the show tends to share stories with our viewers and our listeners that really hit home for themselves, which is very important for me because I'm trying to show the humanality, if that's a word, amongst everybody for the viewers and listeners, because we all go through shit. Yeah. We all go through stuff. And going through that, I mean, at 4 months old, you're not really know what's going on there, but then you're growing up with your father, who is a hero. Oh, yes. Who is burnt, right? Yes. Living with, you know, what that is left on your body for 70%, you said? Yeah. So that's, again, as a young child looking at their father and clearly seeing that they are different looking, you know, that's going to mold your brain differently, which clearly molded yours in a good way.
Yes.
Because you realized at a young age people are different.
Yes.
And for different reasons.
I mean, he looked normal when I got older.
Okay.
But like his hands were always white here and wrinkly, and when he was younger, and he just had pieces of his body that were just really. But I mean, I never looked at that and said, "What's that?" until I got older. Then I would say,
then you would ask.
But his
happened.
face was fine.
Okay.
So it's not, I just growing up, obviously I would eventually say, okay, why does your pinky look a little weird? And he actually said part of it was artificial.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's definitely, that's growing up differently.
Yeah.
And having, my father is my hero, like no question about it.
Yes,
and
I do know
we
that.
didn't get along growing up when I lived with
that.
him, but you grow up and you become a different person and you realize what you had, because we don't always appreciate what we have in the moment. We learn to grow into the appreciation.
Yes.
But, it's a different thing that someone would have to deal with as a child.
Yes.
Because you're also very young. I would assume there was operations and stuff.
When it first happened, all that happened when I was so young, so I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of him going back and forth, and it was a struggle. My sister would remember everything because she was older.
She was seven.
Seven.
At the
So
time.
she was older, and I just didn't even know any of it was going on. I was passed around. My godmother, my Aunt Phyllis, which I adore, she had me a lot, and that's why I'm so close to my Casper cousins, which Frankie, very well.
Absolutely.
My cousin.
I've seen him actually. He's I think he's checked out a couple of things on one of my socials because I see that he's like watched it or something like that.
Yes.
So yeah, he's a great human being for sure.
Yes. So that's why I became so close to them, because I was at their house a lot.
Yeah.
When I was being passed around through family members, because they had to take care of me while my mom was going back and forth to the hospital.
So growing up in the household, your father retired from firefighting because they said he had to?
At the time, he was forced into retirement because, again, the severe what happened to him.
Yeah. So I'd have to imagine there, as a young girl into teenage years, there must have been some conversations there of like, how to survive through life, and like, because obviously he himself going back and diving into the situation, like literally diving into diesel and whatnot to go and save someone else's life, possibly losing his own, clearly losing some parts of himself.
Right.
That's a different human being. And I have to imagine, because I know you're a different human being, okay, that you got some of that from him. There must have been, was there like any specific lesson or talk that he might have had with you to kind of like put you out in the world?
I never had the actual talk with him, but I watched him growing up. And that's why I became a runner, because I would see him go out for runs and he would come back and he was so refreshed. And I just love seeing that he felt that way when he got back. So the passion that I got for running was because of him. Watching him do everything he did in his life, besides hearing about what happened to him when I was 4 months old, because I never knew about it until I was older, actually.
Right.
I always knew he was a retired firefighter. That was it. But then my parents actually bought a catering business, and that was their job in life, and they had so much fun doing it. But my dad, he is basically, he has 7 lives, that whole saying. He was blown up. He was hit by 2 cars. He had 2 heart attacks. He had a stroke. He had cancer. There were so many things that he went through in his life that every time he went through something, I saw him go through it. And he was hit in the head with a beam, and so many things that 9 lives, not 7 lives, 9 lives. The good old kitty
cat, yeah.
And I would see him go through all this stuff, and he would just get up and that's it, and move on. So that's how I never dwell on anything. I just pick myself up and move on, because I saw him. He taught me that.
Right. So a lot of the strength, a lot of what Charlene is, comes from the way Dad was.
Yes.
That's brilliant. I can parallel that, because spitting image of my father, I look like him. My mom always called me Little Arthur. If I can become half the man that he was, I've succeeded in life.
Yes.
And it's a good feeling having someone like that in your life.
Absolutely.
That you can look up to, and even when they're gone, still aspire to become like them.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. So right now, Lyfe is you're at a new spot.
Yes.
Doing the Charlene's hair party.
Over a year.
Over a year now at a new spot. Dennis is doing good.
Yes.
Happy. Still
It's
going out on the
exciting
weekends.
because we are actually starting our own LLC. Pause be with you.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
So something new on the horizon
Yes.
for you.
All about. This is with Negan.
Oh,
so
lovely. I love it.
That's exciting.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you'll have to come back to the podcast
Right,
again
right.
with Dennis.
I promise I won't talk.
Then we'll have the three of us together.
Yes.
And we'll find out about the LLC with Pause.
That'll be tough. I guarantee you that there's no way he would.
We could fade him out, but be there, but not be there, so he doesn't have to worry about being on screen. We'll figure it out. We'll see. We'll coerce him into it. We'll figure. We'll meet up on a Friday and have drinks,
right?
And suggest it while drinking.
Yes.
And we'll just bamboozle him
Yes.
into it. So
Yes.
Dennis, be on the lookout.
Right.
It might happen.
Right.
You're gonna come on the Lyfe Choices podcast. But until we get the two of you on
Yes.
on the stage, on the show, for anyone that is looking for a new hairdresser, men or women's hair, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone. Yeah.
Charlene's information will be down below here. Instagram for Negan, Instagram for yourself.
And if people could just, if they have a TikTok and they could follow Negan on TikTok, Negan the Golden.
There you go. And that information is just below here in the description as well. And as we're talking about Negan, we have Sushi in the background. You can hear her whining right now through the audio. So I thank Sushi every time that she does that. Anyhow, all and any socials that you would like us to have below here right now, which is already here as I'm talking about it, we'll have. Thank you very much, Charlene, for being here on the podcast.
What
I
an
appreciate
honor.
it. No,
What an
thank you.
honor.
Thank you. And for everyone out there, I want to thank you for coming back yet again for another week. I'm loving the support everyone is giving us here at the Lyfe Choices podcast. Remember, if you are new, scroll on down, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you can be notified what's up next. Like, comment, share. Please let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. We are now currently on 4 platforms, not 8, 4 platforms of audio podcasting, which we'll have down in the description as well for you. Follow us out there as well and listen. Otherwise, we'll see everyone back here next week, Tuesday at 2. And thanks for coming. Much love, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You are now about
The Journey, Lyfe Choices podcast.